So the trip started with strong northeasterlies in the Marmara region and rain. But then around Balıkesir, the rain turned into snow, and we hit temperatures of around -4 degrees Celsius. And I even saw some snow on the ground in Balıkesir. But as we reached the lower altitudes, the Aegean climate took over. I usually have a fire to relax after the long drive, and also to trigger the natural instincts. So this is an exploratory dive to see if there's any fish around. These are Vanicoro sweepers. They're Red Sea migrators. They're Lesepsian species. They're all over the place. And this is my first miss on a bass. The visibility was around, 2 to maybe 4 or 5 meters, and the temperature was 15 degrees Celsius. And the visibility got worse as the dive progressed. I missed a lot of fish that day, mostly because of the turbidity. Check this out. I can hardly see the tip of the spear gun, and the fish are passing by. And you don't even know if it's a mullet or a bass, or if it's a closer, smaller fish, or a far away, larger fish. Because you can only see the silhouettes. So I kept missing, especially in the beginning of the dive. And then after a short while, I was able to get one. It was from a small school of bass. And as I pulled it in, this one. And as I pulled it in, check this one. Check this out. It's a small bass. This is not the kind of bass that I shoot in wintertime in the Aegean. I look for larger specimens. So this was the reason, I was missing because the fish were small. Anyway, this was a long dive. I was able to get 4 fish at the end of the dive, but unfortunately there are no videos of those because the battery of the camera died. But you can see the photographs of the fish at the end of the video. So this is next morning. I'm on my way to the marina, to my boat, to get out. It was a misty morning, beautiful morning, with a very slight wind. You can actually see a moorhen right here. Yeah, this guy. So then I got to my boat, and one of the batteries is dead. Surprise. I already knew about it, so I had to drive to town and buy a new one. It took me about 3 hours, so I was late for the morning dive. It was beautiful bass weather, very calm, but there were nets all over the place. Check this out. And I decided to delay the dive a little bit. So I picked some wild leek from one of my favorite places. Then I started the dive around 3:30. Again, there's a net in the water. The water is slightly better than yesterday. It's about 16, 17 degrees Celsius. And right away I see a bass. It didn't give me a shot. It was a small guy. There were some small particles in the water, so that's the reason the camera is not focusing correctly. But I'm hopeful. I'm doing some shallow dives. And a second bass appears. This is again a miss. And I see white grouper babies. Check these guys out. They're really cute. It's a good thing to see little white groupers. Especially in numbers. They're overfished. And then another bass appears, and I was able to shoot it, but it rips off and gets away. And then a third one appears, and I was able to get this one. But, check this out. It's, again, a small guy, not the kind of fish that I usually shoot in wintertime. But there's nothing I can do about it. And, again, fourth fish, one more time a miss. It was a long shot. but not to worry, I still have time. So some more baby white groupers. And right before I get out, another bass, comes close from the deeper section. Check this one out. Yeah, right there. And I was able to shoot this guy, and I got out with 2 fish. I mean, not bad for a day like this, you know. I mean, it was a late start and everything, so I was happy, and I was hopeful for the next day. So then the night fell pretty quickly, and I turned to my favorite spot, and it started gathering some firewood for a little campfire. It's always good to have a little fire on the shore on these long and quiet winter nights. Just to warm up after the dive, relax a little bit with a couple of drinks maybe, and also to reflect a little bit on the day and also on life and everything. It's a little time for yourself, and even if you won't cook over the fire, it's a good thing to have. So I'm just going to shut up now and let you enjoy the moment. Yeah, and here I'm out for some more firewood, and the wild boars were all around me. I couldn't see them, but I could hear them. They were digging for truffles and mushrooms and so on. I was gonna get some oysters, but I forgot. And I'm not eating the fish that I speared. I'm gonna take them to Istanbul. So what I'm making today is a mixture of potatoes and tomatoes and garlic and onions and some hot sauce with thyme and salt and pepper and so on. Good mixture for a cold night. It's going to be about 2-3 degrees Celsius tonight, so I need to get some energy. And of course, I'm going to complete all that with some bread. And for dessert, I have a choice. Bitter chocolate or milk chocolate. We'll see what I'm going to eat. In any case, nothing beats dinner on the water. Even without the fish or oysters, that smells and looks delicious. Nothing beats hot tea after a cold dive. It hits the spot, I'm telling you. And some chocolate for energy. The sweet sound of the Webasto heater. Nothing better than getting into a warm cabin to sleep. I'm in my cabin. The Webasto is working. It's pretty warm in here. And it's cold outside. It's like 3 degrees Celsius. and it's time for me to go to bed because I'm thinking about doing 2 dives tomorrow. If I can get 3-4 more bass, then I'll be happy, but you never know. All right, it's time for me to go to bed. So the next morning, I went to a spot where I got 4 or 5 large bass last year, and right away there's a net. So there's nothing you can do about it. You know, I mean, they're going to be there forever, and you just have to live with it. I mean, that's a new trend. You know, the fishermen, they set their nets and they leave them there day in and day out. But I mean, of course, I mean, I saw no bass at this spot. I saw some wrasses and some painted combers, and the painted combers were tempting, but I didn't shoot them, waiting for a bass. But I saw nothing. Other than the absence of bass, though, the site was teeming with life. For winter, that is. And I really enjoyed the dive, especially with the better visibility. So, I also did a second dive that day at the site from the previous day, in the hopes that maybe I'll bump into a couple more fish, but I only saw one. I was able to get it, but I saw nothing else. And again, it was a small bass. So I concluded the trip with 3 bass. Not ideal, but there's nothing you can do about it. And the good thing is that I was out, and the weather is beautiful. That's what I'm going to be eating today. Fried oysters. Rather large Mediterranean oysters. I seasoned them with a little bit of black pepper and hot sauce. Black peppers and hot sauce. And I'm going to fry them in olive oil. It's going to be delicious. So, the return trip was uneventful. I mean, this trip was not one of my best dives, catch-wise, but other than that, it was perfect, and I was able to get out and, you know, enjoy my time outdoors, and really, nothing beats that. And I'm extremely glad and extremely thankful for it.